Greetings from our channel again. Every Friday night, families gathered to see Last Man Standing. It all felt familiar, the stories, the characters, the laughter, but then everything was different. The major cast began to depart one by one. Viewers were left wondering why their favorite characters vanished, and the replacements didn't seem the same. Was it a shift in career, a difference in creativity, or something more profound? The real tale is more unexpected than you might think. Now, let's begin. Tim Allen made a triumphant return to television in 2011 with Last Man Standing, after a long hiatus. The choice wasn't simple. Last Man Standing was different from the other major offers he had already rejected, such as one from CBS that would have paid him $1 million per episode. Jack Burdett is the originator of the show. Envision Mike Baxter as a novel character, someone who seemed to be an older, more experienced counterpart of Tim, Taylor, and the Toolman. Allen wasn't initially interested in the position. It reminded him too much of his former persona. 3 times he said no. An agreement that provided him control was what ultimately caused him to change his mind. He would not only star but also serve as executive producer, influencing the show's course. Later, when the program addressed political issues, this independence would become crucial. The show was part of ABC's ambitious plans. They aimed to make it seem like a contemporary All in the Family. The plan was to have a conservative protagonist whose family would question his beliefs. The performance takes place on Friday evenings. A difficult time slot in the hopes that Tim Allen's fame would attract viewers. It was successful. In October 2011, 13.2 million people watched its premiere, resulting in the largest comedy premiere on ABC since 2004. It was particularly well liked by viewers between the ages of 18 and 49, and it dominated its time slot even in its first season. For a Friday night event, which is typically a difficult time slot to be successful, this was a huge deal. With an average of more than 8 million viewers per episode, the show maintained high ratings for 6 seasons. That's why its 2017 cancellation by ABC shocked so many people. The core cast's exit was much more surprising. Alexandra Krosny portrayed Mike Baxter's eldest daughter, Kristen Baxter, in the first season of the program. Boyd was born to Kristen, a young single mother, when she was only 17. She tried to balance her life by living with her parents and working as a waitress. The way Krosny gave Kristen a genuine feel was adored by the audience. She was humorous and personable because she had a combination of heart and snark. She added a lot of heart to Kristen's troubles as a young mother, and her quick, funny comebacks with Tim Allen's character were a highlight. However, something unexpected occurred after season 1. Krosny would not be returning for the upcoming season, ABC revealed. They attributed it to differences in creativity. The true causes, however, were more nuanced. The makers of the show made the decision to alter Kristen's account. They wanted her to look mature rather than like a young mother trying to figure things out. And more seasoned. They believed that this would give the show a new atmosphere and give her new avenues to debate Mike Baxter on social and political concerns. They replaced Kristen with Amanda Fuller, an actor, to make this alteration. The appearance of the sisters on the broadcast was another factor in the decision. Alexandra Krosny was younger than Molly Ephraim, who played the middle sister Mandy, despite Kristen being the oldest. This seemed a little strange to the producers. The role of the oldest sibling felt more appropriate for Amanda Fuller, who was older than both Krosny and Ephraim. In addition, Nick Jonas appeared unexpectedly on Last Man Standing in December 2011 as Kristen's ex-boyfriend and baby's father, Ryan Vogel's son. The casting was intended to attract attention and increase ratings, yet he was only 19 at the time. After a protracted absence, Ryan unexpectedly returns to town in this Christmas episode. He is portrayed as an anxious and immature adolescent who fled his obligations. According to the episode, he was a numbskull who caused Kristen to become pregnant. Although Jonas' portrayal of Ryan was straightforward and underdeveloped, viewers were particularly taken by his appearance. When Tim Doyle took over as showrunner in season 2, everything changed. He hoped Ryan would be more than a hopeless father. Doyle made the decision to give Ryan more depth and intelligence. Who could counter the conservative ideas of Mike Baxter? Ryan was supposed to become a typical character with stronger ties to the Baxter household. Doyle, however, was unable to retain this character. Ryan was replaced in 2012 by Jordan Masterson. The character was given a whole new life by Masterson, who is well known for his work on Greek. His Ryan was more politically vocal, wiser, and older. He was no longer just a terrified adolescent. He was now able to debate with Mike on important topics like politics and morals. Ryan gained a lot more depth and significance as a result of this transformation. Ryan's character developed further over time. He moved from being a struggling father to owning Best Buds, a cannabis company. The sitcom made mockery of Ryan's prosperity in later seasons, revealing how he unwittingly began behaving like a capitalist. Mike thought it was amusing. When ABC revealed it was canceling Last Man Standing in May 2017, viewers were taken aback. With more than 8 million viewers and high ratings, it wasn't just any show, it was one of ABC's biggest blockbusters. Given how well it was performing on Friday nights, many anticipated that it would return for a second season. However, the cancellation was unexpected. It was even more unexpected because of the timing. The show's headliner, Tim Allen, had made waves on Jimmy Kimmel Live just 2 months prior. Being a conservative in Hollywood, he said, was like living in Germany in the 1930s. Many questioned whether the network's choice was influenced in any way by that. According to Channing Dungji, president of ABC, it had nothing to do with politics. She asserted that the network intended to switch from Friday comedy to fantasy and sci-fi programming. However, it felt like a slap in the face to the characters and even fans. The actors were open about their feelings. Tim Allen expressed his shock and surprise at the cancellation on Twitter. Nancy Travis, who portrayed his television wife Vanessa, thanked viewers for their support and expressed her sadness with them. In an interview, Ed's actor, Hector Elizondo, alluded to the possibility that politics had influenced the choice. Younger performers like Caitlin Dever and Molly Ephraim began to move on while the older cast members were stunned. They started searching for new chances because they didn't think the program would return. But the fans weren't prepared to part ways. They launched one of the most successful Save the Show campaigns in history. In just one day, more than 400,000 people signed a petition to revive the show. In reference to Tim Allen's handyman persona, fans flooded Twitter with millions of posts using the hashtag. Some even donated toy tools to ABC's offices. Others demanded that the network revive the show by purchasing billboards in major locations like New York and Los Angeles. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker was among the officials who joined in, raising the possibility that the cancellation was made for political reasons. The reasons for the cancellation were a little more nuanced behind the scenes. Because the show was produced by 20th Century Fox, ABC was required to pay $3 million for each episode. The expenses were further increased by Tim Allen's salary, which was more than $200,000 each episode. Following the cancellation, executives at Fox began selling the show to other networks, such as NBC and CMT. Ultimately, Fox themselves took it up. On May 11, 2018, a year later, Fox declared that the show would return. The fans weren't the only reason for this. With millions of viewers for the Roseanne reboot, ABC's success caught Fox's attention. Fox saw an opportunity for their own success and took a bet, investing $50 million to make it happen. The show's star, Tim Allen, hinted on Twitter a few days before to the announcement. He indicated that the deal was already in the works when he advised fans to keep going. Regaining the show wasn't simple. There was a little window of time to get the show back on the air. In May 2018, Fox revealed the revival, with a September release date. As a result, the team had only a few months to prepare, script, and shoot. With just 15 weeks to complete their task, the writers began working on the scripts in June. The set had to be constructed because the original had been disassembled, but filming resumed in August at the same studio. They taped 3 episodes per week in order to satisfy the deadlines. More difficulties arose when the COVID-19 outbreak later forced a manufacturing halt. To keep the show at its peak, Fox invested more money in the revival. The cost of each episode increased from $800,000 to $1.1 million. Tim Allen's salary also increased. He was one of the most paid TV actors, earning $235,000 every episode. Fox licensed the streaming rights to Hulu and CMT for $1.5 million each episode in order to assist pay for expenses. In order to conserve money, the production team significantly reduced travel for location shots and filmed more efficiently. It was all worthwhile. 8 million people watched the first season of the show on Fox, and the premiere alone received high ratings. Fans expressed their continued excitement over seeing the Baxter family again. However, there were still obstacles to overcome, and one of the biggest ones was coming up with fresh names. Because Molly Ephraim, who portrayed Mandy Baxter for 6 seasons, believed that Last Man Standing was over when ABC canceled it in 2017. She did not linger. She immediately applied for new jobs. Molly was already occupied when Fox revived the show a year later. She had appeared in a number of films, including *Halt and Catch Fire* and *Brockmire* with Hank Azaria. Molly had no choice but to return as Mandy because she couldn't abandon these obligations. The Last Man Standing producers did not want a doppelganger to take Molly's place as Mandy. They were looking for someone who could add something fresh to the position. They looked around before deciding on Molly McCook. The team chose to accept the fact that she didn't resemble Ephraim in the least. Rather than trying to hide the change, they even joked about it on the show. Fans were upset when McCook made her debut as Mandy in season 7. Not My Mandy was the one who created the hashtag, but McCook wasn't deterred. She created her own version of Mandy rather than replicating Ephraim's. She emphasized the character's passion for fashion and her aspirations to work as a designer. She was given more serious stories by the writers, such as Mandy's relationship with Kyle and her pregnancy struggles. Fans eventually warmed up to her, particularly during her poignant moments with Tim Allen, who portrayed Mandy's father, Mike. Molly Ephraim wasn't the only one who moved on, though, as McCook had demonstrated by that point that she could contribute something unique to the role. Caitlin Dever experienced a similar circumstance. She bravely decided to turn her attention to movies after the show was first cancelled. This resulted in her breakthrough performance in Detroit, directed by Kathryn Bigelow, which marked a significant career turning point. After that, her success grew exponentially. She secured significant roles in Booksmart 2019 in just 18 months, co-starring with Beanie Feldstein. And Unbelievable, a Netflix miniseries. She shot to fame thanks to these projects. She received Golden Globe and BAFTA nods for her particularly noteworthy performance in Unbelievable. Booksmart, meanwhile, gained popularity. With a $25 million box office haul and excellent reviews. It proved to be the best risk she could have made to go after fresh chances. Things got trickier when Fox brought Last Man Standing back. Dever was no longer able to dedicate himself to the cast full-time. She made 7 appearances in season 7, moving from series regular to recurring guest star. Her appearances decreased to just 2 episodes by season 8, though. It was made considerably more difficult by the COVID-19 pandemic. With stringent quarantine regulations that demand seclusion for every appearance for 14 days. The production team of the show had to modify their timetables to accommodate Dever's availability, occasionally crafting complete episodes that could be shot in the short intervals between projects. She only made 3 appearances by the end of the season, including the series finale. The narratives of the show underwent major alterations as a result of Dever's diminished role. The absence of Eve Baxter, Academy, and her character were all explained by the authors. Her character's trajectory was deepened by this imaginative choice, which made her few appearances have greater emotional significance. Even when Dever was unable to be on set, the show cleverly used video conversations to keep Eve in touch with the Baxter family. The 2 Nieces of Eve, one particularly noteworthy episode, was written especially to accommodate her constrained schedule. It gave fans a touching moment with Eve's character and tied off a number of long-running plotlines by concentrating solely on her bond with her nieces. Despite her hectic schedule, Dever was able to balance several high-profile roles. She co-starred with Michael Keaton in Dopesick, starred in Dear Evan Hansen, and most recently, she played Abby in HBO's The Last of Us Season 2. Due to scheduling issues, Last Man Standing had to postpone plans for 2 of her episodes in Season 8 because of how demanding her responsibilities were. Deva, however, continued to be devoted to the program that paved the way for her profession. Despite its continued popularity, Fox announced in May 2020 that Last Man Standing would conclude after its 9th season. 8.3 million people watched the show on average each season. Fox's second highest-rated comedy was her episode. The show's high ratings and devoted audience caught fans off guard. Kevin Abbott, the producer, revealed that preparations for a 10th season had already begun. One major concept was to rename Outdoor Man Outdoor Woman and have Kristen, played by Amanda Fuller, take up the role. This modification would have examined themes of generational change and the evolution of the family business throughout time. Additionally, the authors aimed to revive beloved guest stars Richard Karn and Jonathan Taylor Thomas. For plots that connected to their previous performances, which would have thrilled devoted fans even more. Abbott disclosed that Fox executives wanted a major event to make the last season memorable. Abbott was initially uninterested. He believed that the show was most effective when it concentrated on short, family-friendly tales. However, the idea that writer John Holler came up with delighted everyone, bringing back Taylor from Home Improvement and Tim, the Toolman. Discussions regarding the possible connections between the 2 shows were triggered by this. The group has thought of numerous crossover concepts over the years, such as making a shared universe in which they told the Taylor family from Home Improvement what had transpired. But implementing these concepts was never easy, requiring agreements between several studios and legal issues. A few innovative concepts never progressed past the planning phase. One suggestion was to bring back the complete Home Improvement ensemble for a Tool Time reunion special set in the Last Man Standing universe. Mike Baxter's discovery that he was distantly connected to Tim Taylor was another notion that may have produced an entertaining plot regarding the connection between their family lines. Even a Christmas special that would bring together the cast of both series was planned by the writers, but what about scheduling constraints and legal rights issues? Made it impossible. It wasn't simple when they ultimately made the decision to include Tim Taylor in the show. It required extensive back-and-forth talks because Disney owned the rights to Home Improvement. The crossover wasn't formally approved until the day before the script reading, Abbott disclosed. To get things going, he even threatened to proceed without Disney's consent. Tim Allen, who portrayed Tim Taylor and Mike Baxter, had certain ailments. He desired that Tim Taylor's persona be given due respect and provided with a valid basis for their presence in Colorado. To appease everyone, including the original Home Improvement creators, the writing team changed the episode 3 times. Tim Allen made a special effort to get ready. To get back into character and ensure that Tim Taylor and Mike Baxter felt like two separate persons, he rewatched episodes of Home Improvement. Subtle allusions to Home Improvement, such as Wilson and Tool Time, were included in the last episode, which also revealed what happened to Tim Taylor after the original series concluded. This crossover, which united two cherished series in a way that delighted viewers, turned into one of the most memorable moments of Last Man Standing's last season.